Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Lynn from L&J Goods. I've got our friend Julie here. If you're local, you know Julie from Between the Vines. Julie teaches workshops and does all kinds of cool stuff out at your place.
Yes, I work a lot with littles.
Yes, she does a lot of work with little people, which we love. Hattie and Mabel are huge fans.
Yes, huge fans.
And Julie actually is joining us today because, like me, the last time that I used Crackle before Pentart came on the scene was like back in the 90s, I think, right? It was a totally different thing than what we're doing now. Poor Julie is so overwhelmed with I can't believe how many Crackles there are.
There is a lot of Crackles out there.
Yeah, yes. And so what are we going to do? We're going to start you out with the most complicated one.
That's great.
And she was under the impression that Crackle is not cool, and she was very wrong.
Yes, I was under that impression that Crackle was not cool.
Yeah, so was Mom.
Why would you think that?
Well, you thought that too before
Well,
Fineline.
what did we crackle? It was thick Crackle, and it wasn't, you couldn't go over, back and forth. You had to go one way.
Yes, and the alligator look, right?
Yes.
Yep. We did it all. But anyway, so Julie's going to be here today, and we're going to walk you through all the process of Fineline Crackle. We cannot do this enough.
Yeah.
Every time we do it, there's a million questions. I'm hoping today that we can break it down into maybe a way that it's going to really be a little simpler for you. But thank you for joining us. I'm Lynn from L&J Goods. L&J Goods is in Medina, New York. We have a little brick and mortar shop here right on Main Street. And Julie's from Medina as well. Your husband has a shop right across the street.
Yep.
And so if you ever see me videoing in the front windows, Chris's shop is always reflected in the windows.
Or if you're local and you need a refrigerator, a recliner, any kind of appliance, it's Main Street Appliance.
Yeah.
You'll also hopefully be seeing a lot more of Julie. She's been helping at Pentart and Decoupage Queen Central. Next door. She's overwhelmed.
I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of products there that I'm very excited
So
to
she
learn
really
about.
needs to learn Fineline Crackle. A crash course.
Julie's a teacher at heart, which means I know that you're a good student as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're watching live today, you're catching us either on Facebook or YouTube. You can always go back to YouTube to watch the whole replay of this. I'm actually preparing a little condensed version of the Fineline Crackle, a sweet project that I'll be sharing on YouTube as well, a little edited video. So for those of you that want to, move it along without fast forwarding, that's going to be coming up very soon. So
I was just going to say, this is less of a Crackle for dummies. Like when I think maybe you taught this to me a while back.
Well, I taught it to Katie Oakes. We did Crackle for Dummies.
But this is a true Crackle for beginners, but maybe a Crackle for crafters because she is an artist and she knows how to do these things. So it is perfect for the people that watch us, I think, who do craft all the time.
Right.
Aren't new to crafting in general.
Yeah, so if you have questions, by all means, throw them in the comments.
Yes.
If we could stick to questions about Fineline Crackle,
I don't think that'll be a problem
in this live, that would be so helpful and maybe kind of tone down the confusion a little bit.
If there's one thing I think we'll have a problem with, it's that, because that's the one kind of question that gets snuck in no matter what we're talking about. Fineline Crackle questions get snuck in, so I think we'll be fine.
So why don't we switch the camera down? Julie's like, please
You did
the
great.
camera down. And we're going to show you what we've got prepared for today to walk you through all of these basic steps of Fineline Crackle. Here we go.
Yay. I'll quickly get over my spiel before you get started.
Go right
you can
ahead.
find all of the things that Mom and Julie are using today in the collection that I created. It's a nice supply list. It's pretty simple for today. Also, they'll be featuring the Decoupage Queen new release, the Skinner 4-pack paper that represents a few of the different papers in the release.
Yeah.
And that will be in the collection as well. But there's a link to that. If you're watching on YouTube, you can find that link in the description below. If you're watching on Facebook, you'll find that in the description above. Or you can go to lnjgoods.com and look for the menu item featured on our live tutorials. look for the title of today's live and today's date, and you can find all of these things there easily.
Okay, perfect. So this is the product that we're going to be using today. This is Pentart's Fineline Crackle. And let me grab a little sample. This is this little sample from a video that I'm going to be sharing. That's that real beautiful, like porcelain-like finish that has those very, very delicate fine lines throughout the finish. So, I know you either love it or you're confused by it or you think that you have failed, and hopefully we will talk through those steps. So what we've done already, what Julie's done already, I had her prepare a couple of tags. These are just MDF tags. I think they're the medium size.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have any of these. We might, but and then Julie decoupaged her her images onto the surface. We put a light background behind the decoupage, as you know, so that it creates the most vibrant pigment effect. This one you said you did a kind of a light blue.
Yeah.
But I like the effect. It really did make it look pretty. All right, so we are going to be working on these two tags. So what I've done is I want to try to think of Fineline Crackle in kind of two phases. We want the phase that is only going to be, no, let me start that over again. Oh, shoot. The first phase that we use is going to use water-based products like the Pentart varnish and glue. That is water-based. We applied the decoupage, and then if you want a super glossy finish, you can put a water-based glossy varnish over it. That's what Vasilis always does. So, and actually I'm going to be going live with him too on a Fineline Crackle project coming up. But we want the water-based glossy varnish over the decoupage that you do. We'll give it extra shine. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. So once we have applied our finish and our decoupage here, we never let our brushes or anything else touch water again. When I had the Crackle Camp, we did our water-based products first, and then I made everybody completely remove everything. They removed their water bin, they removed their brushes, they removed their decoupage medium, they took it all off the table. So that's what I want you to remember. There is a place where you have to now never use water again.
Okay.
It's
Ever.
always do you have a solvent cleaner for your brush out?
No. We will never, ever, ever use water again as we continue this process. So these have dried completely. This one has a glossy varnish over it. This one is just the decoupage varnish and glue. Okay. So again, you can add some extra shine if you use the glossy varnish, or you just give it that coat of decoupage varnish and glue, just to seal your paper in place. Now we will use the Crackle mediums. And remember, now from here on, no water can ever, ever, ever touch this. So I have a whole set of dry brushes here that we'll be using. I have my Fineline Crackle, and I love this because it comes in 3 sizes, and this is great. Like if you've never used it before, like you can get a little 50 ml size, and it's wonderful for then working on tags and small projects, and then you won't feel, as intimidated by this big giant bottle of stuff. So this is a good little, I call them little snack size product size.
Trial size.
Trial size, kind of like that. And then there's the 100 ml, and then there's the 230 ml. So I just want you aware that there are some different sizes available. You're not tied into a big giant one. If you've never used this before, grab a little size and work with it for a while and see what you think.
I would
like it.
I would say the Fineline Crackle is the mother of all Pentart products, wouldn't you?
I would say so too. I think it's the #1 selling Pentart
There's
product.
nothing, because there's nothing
Nothing
else
compares.
like it. Nothing
Yeah, there
else
is
like it.
no other crackle medium on the market that does what this one does.
Yep.
Okay, so we now are going to apply the first component. These come in a set of 2. You must have the 2 parts in order for the crackle to work. So component 1 we'll start with. And I am going to quickly throw mine on, and then I'm going to...
Can I ask
Yeah,
something?
go ahead.
Does one of these have the glossy varnish and one does not? So we could see the difference. I can't remember. I know you had her put it
This
on
one has glossy.
Yeah,
This
I
one
already
has
explained
matte.
that. Yep, I
Okay,
explained.
sorry.
Yep.
And you can see it.
Yep. Okay, so what we're going to do, Julie, is just get a nice amount of the Fineline Crackle component 1, and this is that glue that's going to make everything crackle. And I get a nice generous amount on there.
Okay.
I want the product to move smoothly. I don't want it to drag. If it feels like it's starting to drag, I'm going to get more product in my brush. So you work with this while it's wet, and then we want to get that on there.
You can go in both directions. don't
You
have
can
to
go in both directions. You can crisscross. You can do whatever you want. The key is you don't want your brush to drag as this begins to dry, because it'll lift up and get kind of gummy and yucky.
Oh, Lisa says your tan looks great, Mom.
My
But I think she
tan?
might be looking at Julie's arm.
Probably. Although I've probably gotten a little bit of sun. So that's all we need.
I can feel that just happen on mine. I have a
Yes,
little bit of
okay.
drag
So
right there.
yes, it dragged. Yes, it did. I can see that. So let's quickly get
More
on there.
There.
And you can feel it. If
Yeah, I
it
can see
feels,
that.
you
Yeah.
can feel it and you can see it
So when
if
do
it
you
starts
know
to
that you have
drag.
enough on so that you can stop putting, like here, I can see that it needs more.
Yeah.
A little there in that corner.
Sure. Yep. And then you're done.
What about drips on the edges? How should you handle that situation?
Well, oh, Julie, you just have to ask that,
I do.
don't
That's
you?
great.
What I would do
That's what a
is,
crafter
at
would
this
do.
point, I would either grab a little, let's see.
Oh, listen to this question from Carolyn Duncan. My Fineline step 1 often is thick. Can I add water?
Yes, you may. You can
What?
dilute it a little bit with
You
water.
told us not to use
I know.
water.
I would
But
think it was no.
okay, so let me explain. Let me
Shocking.
explain. Okay,
Shocking.
I want to explain that these are water-based products. You can clean them with soap and water. You can add a little bit of water to this if it starts to thicken out, the first component. But once you get everything applied and on here, that's when you cannot use water with these again.
Okay.
The reaction is going to begin to happen when step 2 touches step 1.
Okay.
All right? So I hope that makes sense.
Once they connect, they cannot touch water.
That's exactly right.
Separate, it's
This on the
okay.
edge?
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Yep. Does that make sense, everybody? I hope so.
They become a different being once they connect.
Exactly.
That cannot
It's
touch
kind
water.
of like
A gremlin.
it's kind of like, when you're mixing a cake mix, the magic doesn't happen with the cake mix until it's all mixed together, right? And so there we go. So Julie, I think what we're going to do is we need to dry these, but
You want August to dry?
well, I think I'm going to dry them. Now, here's the other thing. Let me talk about this for a second. We want this first step to dry completely. Now, you've heard me say it so many times. What I would typically do is just leave this overnight. I'm going to just put it aside and let it dry completely on its own. When you start rushing that process, you can run into issues. And we don't want issues.
Okay.
So we are going to use a dryer on this, but I'm going to take it slowly, and I am going to be moving it, because if you get too much heat on this first step, it'll kind of bubble up, and you don't want that to happen.
So normally you wouldn't even recommend a dryer. Just let it
Exactly.
dry.
I would just recommend letting it dry on its own. And yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So when this dries, so right now it is kind of that white glue looking look. And then it's going to dry transparent.
That's how you know. Okay, so Carolyn says she's always running out of component 1. Now that can be replaced with the universal cracking primer, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so you can, if you run out of that, you can use the universal cracking primer from Pentart, which I
Yes.
will add a link to that in the supply list, and I'll give you one specifically, Carolyn.
So newsflash, you guys, if you've got any crackles, you can use component 1 with any of them. I know Pentart doesn't like us to say that, but
it's true.
It's true, yeah.
Yes. And you'll figure it out. If you're using crackles on your own, you're going to go rogue and try it out anyway. So
Yeah.
you might as well know the truth. And it's why it's called universal cracking primer.
That's
because it's
exactly right. Yeah.
Universal.
Yeah.
It's the component 2 that's different.
That's good to know because there is a lot of different colors
Yes.
and styles of those other
Yes.
crackles.
Oh boy, are there,
Yeah,
right?
so much fun.
Yeah.
So if they were trying to pull the wool over our eyes, they shouldn't have called it universal, because that was my first clue. Okay, another question from Carolyn. You're killing it over here, Carolyn.
Good, Carolyn.
Another question. That being said, if component 2 got thick, would you add varnish? No, because you said it's water-based.
These
right?
are water-based until you combine them. If this gets thick, I mean, you can try adding a little water to it. I don't know what would happen, but you know, what's it going to hurt to put a little bit in a cup and put a few drops of water and sample it on something? I've never done that, just so you know. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot more pooling around the edge than you do.
that's okay. Because we're different people. Our hands work differently. So it's really okay.
Do you think it looks better when you go in different directions with your brush?
Well, I don't think it really makes that much of a difference. A lot of this will mostly settle
Level out.
and level out.
It
Okay.
probably would have made a little difference though for me. Like at that bottom, if I went typically up and down because probably I'm used to that old crackle.
Yes.
So you have to go up and down. So
Yes. It does feel intuitive to
Yes.
just
I
go
didn't
up and
wanna-
down. Yes.
I didn't want to go crisscross.
Yes. All right. But I feel like Mom always does go
Yeah,
crisscross.
she did. I was watching her.
Yeah.
She was crisscrossing a lot more than I was. So.
Yes.
So if I were to hold this in one place over this, it would bubble right up, and you don't want that.
That's just, and generally speaking, when you're drying anything.
Exactly.
Melinda, you did not miss too much, but you can always go back and watch the replay. We try to always start around 1:30 for our lives.
We just had a little bit of a delay
Just a
today
little
because
delay.
Mom forgot to close the
To
shop
lock the
door.
As is our standard practice every Monday and Wednesday, to accidentally leave the door unlocked.
Not every.
And get more customers than we ever do
It's a beautiful day out. They just wanted to go for a walk.
any other day of the week. I always tell Mom, in retail we use the same argument. If it's a beautiful day, we'll say, oh, there's nobody coming in because it's so beautiful out. Or, wow, there's so many people coming in. It must be because it's a beautiful day.
It's true. I know. So just a quick reminder that when you are base coating on wood or MDF especially, you want to make sure that you paint both sides. And why is that, Julie?
To seal it in.
Yeah.
Right?
Why?
So you don't get it to be brought in, or right? Like it's.
You
not-
don't want it to warp.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a Grandma Rosie
Yes.
rule.
Well, I would say it looks unfinished too.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
more of the back.
yes,
Yes.
that's exactly right.
Yes, I would always say I wouldn't buy anything if I went to a show if the back was unfinished
Yes.
because it doesn't look professional to
No.
me.
That's,
And that's an old Grandma Rosie.
yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
she would be sitting over here with one eyebrow up at that.
I know.
that was
Like,
not
you're going to
painted.
paint that?
Yes. Well, I debated about those edges too because I
Well, you can always do the edges later, and what's a fun technique to use on the edge is even use a little bit of the gold or one of the pigment powders with the pigment fix, and you can make a really pretty edge on it. I kind of make it look almost like it's a little soldered edge.
I can't wait to use those pigment fixes.
Yes.
The red and the Christmas one.
I know, doesn't that red look so good?
Yeah, beautiful.
Mom's got some things planned for Halloween too. The pigment fix that she's never tried, and
so-
she has a new one, the golden brown. That's her new favorite.
Wait
so
till you
stay
see the
tuned.
golden brown. Oh my gosh.
Really pretty. It almost reminds me of the umber wax, but in a pigment
But
powder.
it's
really
prettier.
pretty,
It's
yeah.
really pretty.
Okay, Carolyn, another great couple of questions. Can it be put over, number one, inlay? Yes, as long as it's sealed properly, right? Inlay.
Inlay, absolutely.
And number
yes.
two, everyone's favorite question, transfers.
Stay tuned.
But right now,
Mama's
the answer
working
is
on.
no, don't do
Mama's
it.
working on something.
But no, right now, don't do it. Because
Don't do it, no.
The solvent will pull up your transfer, and it will make you very sad.
Well,
so
and
right now, don't do it.
And I'm kind of sorting that out too.
Yes.
I don't know that it's necessarily the solvent as much as it is for the cracking to occur. There's got to be tension, so it pulls on that second component, and the pulling on that second component is what makes the cracks.
But then why do the other crackles work? Because they don't pull as hard? Or they're just
Maybe.
pulling on the surface of the... Maybe they're just pulling on the surface.
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, no. We're on a really tight ship. I'll text her.
What a day.
It's Grandma.
And I'll tell another reason you want to make sure that you let these dry on their own is because it's gonna dry from the surface down, and so wherever it's a little bit thicker, it's gonna take longer. So I'm gonna try to get this one at least clear, and then we'll continue to work on this one.
I forgot to tell her. She wanted to know when Julie...
Why I didn't paint the back of my...
No, but she wanted to know when you and Julie were going to go live together. Laura just made some with some of the Pentart Gold and Pigment Fix. It absolutely looks almost soldered, and it's beautiful. Laura Roy.
Laura Roy, isn't that literally just the best thing ever? Your drying time is also going to vary depending on your climate, how much humidity is in the air. That's why I do like to let these dry on their own. And probably what we should have done is I should have gotten that first one ahead of time. All the while we were sitting here, we totally didn't.
We will still be doing...
Drop the ball.
We will still be doing a stamping session, Erin, don't you
I
worry.
did like to watch you apply that, though. That was good.
Yes.
Like to watch the difference in your brush stroke versus how I was putting it on was good to watch.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. And I think the other part of it is, too, is tactily, you can feel when that brush... when there's a little drag.
Yes.
And when there's that drag, you need to add more of component one into your brush to really get that on there smoothly.
Yes. Lisa says the Pigment Fix makes like a molten lava. It's so beautiful.
Oh, it's incredible. I've got, of course, we've got Christmas in July starting on Wednesday. I will not be using Pigment Fix on Wednesday, however, but I will have a very special printable available for you on Wednesday for our first Christmas in July project.
Okay, Lisa, let's go over that again. So the components separately are water-based. Then you said until they are combined. What is it then? So after they are combined, you never use water again. Nothing water-based again. You'll see we're going to be using only solvent-based items, like a solvent-based wax, a solvent-based sealer, a solvent patina, things like that, solvent varnish. Never ever again will we use water-based after those two components are combined with the Fineline crackle only. Every other crackle is different. It's just the Fineline specifically. That's why we get the most questions about Fineline. It's very particular. It's very special, but it requires special treatment. Is it too soon to ask about enhancing the cracks? No, you can ask about it. We're going to get to that part though. But that's kind of what I was just talking about, the varnishing of those cracks and what we are going to add to them, like a solvent-based wax, or you can also use those same pigment powders that we were just talking about. Okay, Chris, the favorite gold paint of Mom's is the antique gold metal pigment or a gold metal pigment mixed with pigment fix, and I will give you links to those right now. And it really is, there's nothing like it. So hot, right? Yes, be careful. It's so different than a blow dryer. Yes. Carolyn just said she can feel the heat through the camera.
So
Yes. You're like, this might be over. We might be heading to the emergency room.
I use a blow dryer with all my kids.
Yes. No, those are not for kids, that heat gun.
It does work faster.
Much
Sometimes
faster,
I'm
but yeah,
waiting
that's
for
why
a
you
long
have to
time.
move it. It's no joke. I can't believe how long we were using blow dryers. It's much faster. Okay, Chris, let me get this to you. And you can definitely find quite a few videos of Mom using that favorite gold paint. And you can mix it with the pigment fix with any mica powder or metal pigment. Okay, she switched to the blow dryer?
Yeah, but you can see there, like how I had it too thick on the bottom.
I know that's driving you crazy.
Yes, because
but it will be okay.
Better than that.
As long as it's dry, it's going to be okay. I promise. Okay. Hey, Deb. It is, I love this crackle the best. I do like when she uses the transparent cracking gel over a paper and it looks like an old painting. I really do love when she uses that too. Okay. Carolyn says, when I add mica powders or wax, it glops up and it is almost impossible to move it across the surface. Could it be that I'm not letting my project dry thoroughly?
What is that now?
She said, when I add mica powders or wax, it glops up and it is almost impossible to move across the surface. Could it be that I'm not letting my project dry thoroughly? Are you varnishing first? Because do you need to varnish before you use that or no?
The mic?
Before you add like a mica powder or a wax, do you have to varnish first or no?
To this?
Yeah.
No. No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so do you think it is because she's not letting it dry fully?
Could be. Well, yeah.
Probably, Carolyn.
Almost there, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Deb's driving through the mountains of West Virginia. Yes, she did. She didn't realize she was using a heat gun.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. All right.
Do you need Augie to dry either one of them more?
No, I think we're good.
Looks good.
Yep, it does. All right, so we have our pieces with our Fineline Crackle first component. Oh.
I was like, I kept feeling like it seemed too dark. But why is that not?
I don't know.
But we definitely need that on. There, that's much better.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
You'll definitely see that porcelain finish much
Okay.
better.
Now, once this is on here, you can feel this, Julie, lightly. It feels a little, I don't want to say tacky, but it definitely has a different
Yes.
feel to it,
I can feel that.
right?
Not tacky like sticky, but
There's
Right.
a texture.
yeah.
Not a texture either, but there's a little bit of a pull
Yeah.
if you were to slide your hand across it.
Almost like tape or something, but no.
All right, now I got one little area right there. I think it's going to be okay. And this one looks good. Just a little bit, but it's okay because you know what? I think it's okay to see when we don't do things absolutely perfectly, how they can work out. For example, the piece that I showed you earlier, because I'm experimenting with some different processes, and I totally put a water base finish over this, completely wasn't even thinking, and it got all funny.
It still looks cute.
It's cool though.
Yeah, yeah.
It turned out kind of cool.
Shirley, tell us what kind of problems you have had with Fineline Crackle. She said she's never had luck with this product, so she's hoping to get some tips.
Good. Okay, let's talk about component 2. Component 2 is this amber color, and I think what I want to do is I will get mine brushed on, and then I'm going to go dry it.
Do you want Augie to grab it and dry it?
It's okay. I just want to, I don't know that Augie knows how to dry.
Or I could dry also.
So again, you want to get enough product in here where it is, your brush is not dragging. You work with a dry brush, a dry, soft brush. Remember, no water touches any of this once I've got my paper decoupaged on and sealed. Once we start working with the Fineline Crackle, we put all water away. Okay, Julie, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay.
And it has a beautiful glossy finish, and I'm looking to make sure that I've got everything covered. Again, you don't want to brush back and forth a lot and let that product dry, start to dry, because it'll drag and it'll start lifting it up, and you don't want that.
And I can see that tilting it helps because then you can see sort of where
Exactly. You can see, but you can feel also, right? You can feel, just like when you put the first component on, you can feel that brush. You want that to move with your product and move smoothly. You don't want it to drag at
and I
all.
can see it too right here. I can see that I just dragged
Yep,
it.
there you go. Okay, so quickly get some more in your brush. There you go, and just go over that. There, perfect.
Oh, right there too.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
I'm leaving it.
But you could feel it, right?
Yes,
and
and
then
I can see it.
this will kind of self-level.
Okay.
Now we can just put that away, put our brush away, put this aside.
And you can put that and wash it out with just soap and water.
Yep,
Also.
absolutely.
You want me to dry?
No, I'm gonna go ahead and got a little bubble there. I'm gonna pop that little bubble.
What's the best way to pop a bubble? Because you really are not supposed to touch it, right?
No, you shouldn't. Maybe with a pin or,
Anything but your finger.
there we go. All right, now what I would do is I would let this now dry on its own. But we're going to go ahead and
Speed it up.
speed it up. Now, I would let this dry overnight. Now, here's what I found out, is that in the winter, sometimes I'll come back the next day and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even see any cracks. But as soon as I apply a little bit of my blow dryer to it or a little bit of warmth, it just starts to crack right away. And it is hard to tell because you're working with such a glossy step 2 to know when it's dry. You don't want to stick your finger in the middle of this to test it. You could test right along the edge, but you're going to want to get this dry. And that's why I like to let them dry overnight. Then I know it's dry.
And reminds me a little of resin. Like you don't want to touch it when it's drying.
Yes.
Same with the bubble. You want to touch the bubble to get it to go away. You make that mistake one time and then you never do it again.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Julie is a friend of our family for a long time, Melinda, and she is an artist herself and a teacher, and she's also been working with us at Pentart and Decoupage Queen. And she has never tried this kind of crackle before today.
Never. I haven't tried Crackle in a long time.
Yeah. This was our gateway into Pentart, and I'm sure many people.
It's true. And we all want this finish, and we want it to work. And it's like, oh my gosh, it is such a beautiful product, but you really do have to follow these steps closely. And I have never had it fail. I've never had it fail. I know that...
No judgment if you
No,
have.
there's no judgment, but I have messed it up, and I have done things the wrong way, but as far as when I do the steps correctly, I always get crackle, always.
I'm excited to see the Crackle.
Yes, it is very exciting. I remember when we first got this, and when my shipping was still in the basement, we didn't even have Pentart upstairs, and we just kept the Pentart right next to my shipping station.
Yes, its
And
own
then
little bubble.
And by just a little shelf of it, and then the Pentart section just kind of grew and grew and grew and grew down the way from me.
Stuck my finger in it, it's still wet.
Okay, component 2 on direction. Does it have to go in one direction,
Nope.
or just same thing as component
No,
1?
it kind of self-levels. You'll find that when you put enough of this product on there, which you want to do, you want to make sure you're generously applying this, it'll self-level. You don't want it to drag. That's probably the most important thing.
Both times I did that. I didn't put enough product on it.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times people don't use enough of component number 2. They're a little stingy with it, but you really do want that generous amount so it's really flowing off of your brush.
Melinda says with her AC, she always has to take the heat gun. That
Exactly.
helps her.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I find that here, especially like in the back room where we were working, I usually worked on my products back there. I would, in the winter, it would just take a little bit longer. And I would maybe have to apply a little bit of heat, but then all of a sudden it just started cracking, and then you get this beautiful network of cracks.
The gloss of it's really pretty.
The gloss is beautiful.
I love it.
That's another question we often get is well, you asked me earlier, do we have to use a gloss finish over it? No, there's also a solvent matte finish if you want that.
I always just wonder why. Why would you go to all the trouble of using such a beautiful glossy crackle and then go matte? Because there's other crackles for that, right?
Well, no. I mean,
Like for a matte finish.
for a matte finish, yeah. I mean, there's not other crackles for a matte finish. It's just there's very different crackles.
I just think of Fineline has a porcelain shiny
Exactly,
finish. Like why
yeah.
would you want to go back then and make it matte?
Yeah. Some people might, and that's okay. You just got to make sure that it's a solvent finish.
Carolyn says, LOL, so we need to buy component 1 in pint size and component 2 in half-gallon size. I think that's why you can get the universal cracking primer separately, so you can kind of get a refill. Yes, the transparent crackle. Yep, that's a 2-step, and that is on our store. I'll give you a link to that.
I touched a little bit there. But honest to goodness, it's like, don't be afraid, you guys, to practice with this. And if you, like I just did, I just touched a little bit. Nope, it was still wet. So I'm going to have a little spot there. But you know our rule. When it's going to be fine.
Right, nobody's going to see it.
Nobody is going to see it. No. Do you have any other questions?
I'm waiting to see those crackles.
You're waiting. I know. Like, that's what everybody wants. Like, oh, show us the crackles. They're coming. They're coming.
My question is, will you notice a difference when we put the gloss under there, and then this was a matte finish?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let's
We'll be
see.
curious
Yeah.
with it too.
I'm going by Vasilis's lead. He says he always coats with the glossy varnish after he decoupages.
Have you done a full video on the transparent cracking gel? I can't remember. If
Oh,
you
I
did.
have. Yeah,
thought
I've
so.
got several. Mm-hmm.
But that's typically what she does when she makes a decoupage paper look like an aged painting.
I know, it's so tired.
Don't touch it. This is going to be the worst part, but versus preparing like 8 tags. No.
I
we'll
think,
just-
but that is actually in hindsight what we should have done.
Oh, of
But
course.
you're teaching her, so it's not like she could have prepped
Yeah,
those
exactly.
stages.
You learn a lot.
Yes.
Just from those stages. That's
Yes.
why they do that.
Julie, if you want to take yours into the bathroom, there's a blow dryer in there.
All right.
And we might be able to get yours dry too. And then we'll get finished up here. We applied a nice generous layer of the second component also. So it's just taking a little bit longer. And it's a little humid today. Even though we're in air conditioning, it creeps in somehow.
It's very humid.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's a big giant building to air condition.
Yeah. Yep. Any other questions?
Let's see. Hey, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Okay, if you don't get the crackle you want, can you add more components over the 1 and 2 parts?
No. And I'll tell you what, if this doesn't crackle for you, for whatever reason, you don't want to add this over top of this. Because remember, once you have applied both of these, that magic formula is already happening, and no water or wetness can touch this. Okay? Not allowed.
Cindy has had some struggles with this product as well. Have you been watching from the beginning here, Cindy?
What's your struggle been, Cindy? Tell me. Oh, this is already starting to crack. Ah, I can see it.
My next question is,
Yeah.
how do you tell it's dry?
Well, you want to like test the edge
But be careful.
and then slowly kind of work in. Like my surface is all dry now.
I can see a little.
It's starting to crack. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Is your camera down, Mom? I don't know if it is.
Okay. Oh, this is the most exciting part.
Michelle, this is Pentart Fineline Crackle, the only Fineline Crackle.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and this is always tough to catch, but I can see it.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Right
I
there.
am going to start, mine is starting too. So I'm going to add a little more heat. Oh, and look at it. Do you see that?
I can't see it.
Nope, that is Katie Oakes who has the farm. Julie's had her own business for many years called Between the Vines. She teaches,
Oh, yes, I can see it then.
Yep.
she teaches paint classes
That's
herself.
Gonna be so hard to get it.
Yes, we sell Pentart. Yes, we do. And I'll just remind everyone, you can find everything that Mom is using here today in the supply list I created. It's linked in the descriptions, both on Facebook and YouTube or on ellenjgoods.com. Under featured on our live tutorials, you just look for the name of today's
Look at
live
Yeah.
and today's
It's a
date, and
beautiful
you can find
crackle.
it.
It's so beautiful. And this is cracking like
Oh, yeah.
crazy. And yours is too.
It's not that same crackle that we used to get that was like a thick
Yes.
crackle.
No.
No,
Oh, look
no
at-
water can touch it. So we're going to go over what kind of sealers you can use, Becky, after we're done getting it to crack and making sure it's completely dry, because it has to be completely dry before you use any
this
kind of sealer.
Oh, Julie, this is really cracking. And then I'm going to try to hold this up to the camera so that perhaps, let's see if we can see that. I know it's so hard.
But we'll use something in a minute to highlight the cracks
Oh yeah.
so you can really
Look at
see.
it all.
Isn't that incredible? It's so cool. So this is going to continue to crackle until we put a finish on it.
Okay.
Like would it
Oh, this
eventually
is beautiful. Oh, I cannot wait.
would it eventually just shatter into a million pieces
I don't know.
if you left it alone to its own devices?
So I know, like in the retailer group, and like my friend Dagny up in Canada had sent me a problem that she had had, and one of the issues, so we can problem solve.
Mom just set one of her gloves on fire. Everything's fine. Bubbling smoke. Everything's fine.
It's gonna be fine.
It's right out of the way.
Yeah. I forget that this is a heat gun too.
Yeah. No, gloves are.
Jeepers
Can't
creepers,
pull
I'm
them meltable.
telling you.
Do we have our own business group? We have the L&J Goods Insider Group, and that is linked in the description on
And it's
YouTube.
free.
It's free, yes, and it's also the pinned comment always on our lives on Facebook. Or you can just search for L&J Goods Insider on Facebook.
I love that.
Let's see if we
Wow,
can.
that glove really smells
I
melted.
know. And again, I know it's hard to see until we begin to apply. Tell me in the comments if you can see any of that
Smoke.
crackle.
Tell me in the comments if you saw any smoke drifting past the camera.
Guys, can you see that crackle? There,
Yes,
there's,
a great
there it
picture.
is.
Oh, I just saw it catch. Yep.
Right there. See that? Oh my gosh.
Reminds me of like porcelain jewelry.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. I've got one area here where it was a little thicker.
Melinda said it's fine. Everything's fine. The best of live. Yeah, we could have definitely a whole.
In the bloopers reel.
Yes, a bloopers reel. It's called "It's Fine. Everything's Fine."
Yes, exactly. And there we go. Now mine is totally cracked.
I'm sure some of you remember that live where Mom melted upwards of 5 different beautiful Swedish ornaments.
Oh my
With
word.
her
I cannot be
makeup.
trusted.
Those were so pretty too.
They
I
were
love those
beautiful. I
ornaments.
made them again. Now I'm trying to catch this in a way that maybe you can see it.
I love that print too.
This is really pretty.
Yeah.
I really didn't notice that as much until you did this.
That's my favorite, actually.
It's
of the release.
beautiful.
those doves.
Okay. So tell me, guys, can you see when I tip that? Get that light on there. Can you see the crackle?
Oh, I just saw it. I know I'm on a delay, but
See that? So it's there. It's done exactly what we want it to do. And again, we have this one. See that crackle? It is beautiful. Now,
yes, they're seeing it. They're seeing it.
yay. Good, 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 good. Okay, I didn't put any magic spells on this. I didn't pray over it. I didn't do anything but follow those steps.
I was saying some silent prayers.
I bet you were. Like, please don't let this, please
Crackle,
don't let
please.
Julie
I
bomb.
was like, it wasn't my thing that I did earlier wrongly.
Okay, now.
I have a quick question before
yes,
we move on.
Absolutely.
After using the Crackle, my decoupage paper lifted and I got a shadow effect from the cracks. Did I use too much product?
Well, it sounds to me like your decoupage paper was not secured enough.
They should use a decoupage queen squeegee to put it down.
Yes, perhaps.
And that is why, too, I do like to make sure I put a good finish coat over my decoupage, like we showed in the beginning, to make sure that that is sealed completely. You've got to make sure it's well adhered. You've got to make sure that it is sealed completely. Then you can go ahead and apply your Crackle.
Here's another great question.
Okay.
How many coats of sealer would you put over a transfer before adding your Fineline Crackle?
I would not.
You do not use it over transfers.
No.
It's going to lift a transfer.
However, I will say I have been experimenting, so I want you guys to watch for YouTube to see some videos coming up where I have been answering my own question of what would happen if, and you'll see what happened.
But really, don't just go out there and start throwing Fineline Crackle
No.
over a transfer.
No.
You will not be successful and you will waste your transfers. So Mom's
In fact-
playing around with it, but it's taking a lot of finessing, and she has a lot of she has transfers she can afford to
In
waste,
the back
quite frankly.
hallway
Yeah.
is that lemon drops, the very first
That you
piece
messed
that
up?
I did. Can you go grab that?
Okay, because I want to make sure that they don't do that.
Yeah, I want to show you that.
Okay, and while
I
I'm
have
gone,
a couple theories about all of that. So
While I'm gone, answer, what did you use to seal after decoupaging?
I just used the Pentart water-based glossy varnish. That was the first thing. Then after I sealed it, all of my water-based stuff, everything that touched water was moved aside. And then we never put water
maybe where
on
she said
this
the lemon
again.
drops were.
All right, once
Can you ask
you
maybe where she said the lemon drops
decoupage
were?
and seal
ask that,
your
the lemon
paper in
drops.
place,
Just ask.
never
Say where
ever
are the
touch
lemon
water
drops?
again. I move the brushes aside. We don't touch water again when we start using this product. It's hanging in the back stairway. As you go downstairs to the left, you'll see it's on a wood plaque. There's lemons on it, and yeah, you'll see it. Okay, Julie, so now it's going to be time to add a finish. We've got some beautiful cracking here. There's a few different things that you can use on your, to reveal those cracks. Let me grab, you notice how we both ended up just standing now? I always end up doing that. I'm on my feet all the time. There's a few different things that you can use. You can use the art mica powders, a gold, like I love to use gold or gold to reveal those cracks. You can use the powders and just brush those right into it. These work nicely. And then you would put the sealer over it. You can use the liquid patina. This is a liquid, and this really sinks down into those cracks as well. Anything that I'm now going to use on this that's not the powder, I got to make sure that it's one of these, like danger, 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 warning, right? Danger. It's got to be a solvent-based finish. That means it's flammable. That means you need to use proper ventilation. You need to do all of
Clean
that.
your brush with this.
And then this is to clean your brushes later. Yeah. So we're not going to use this one because it does have a lot of fumes. I would use this in a very well ventilated area, but it's a liquid. This is Yvette's favorite thing to use in Fineline Crackle.
She likes to use that because you can varnish over it.
Yes.
That's why she likes it in the cracks. Now, I just want to quickly answer. Can you please show the water-based and the solvent-based glossy varnish? There are both. So Mom used the water-based to seal her decoupage before she moved on to the Crackle, okay? This is what would be used after the Fineline
top
Crackle.
of the Crackle.
So before, you can use the water-based because then your components are still separate, okay? It's after, once they are combined, that you have to use the solvent base. So there are both.
Okay.
There is a water-based glossy varnish and a solvent-based glossy varnish. Nothing confusing about it. I don't want to hear any complaints.
Megan.
I'm only kidding. It's so confusing. Keep
It
asking.
isn't-
Ask
it-
all your questions. That's what we're
It
here for.
isn't if you just remember that once you decoupage and you finish and you seal your decoupage paper, you never, ever, ever let anything water-based, no brushes, nothing else can touch this. Even a baby, like some people will use a baby wipe
Yeah, don't do it.
to wipe the wax away. Don't do that. That's adding moisture, and you can't do that. I started to say, Dagny showed me an issue she had, and there have been a couple people that have reached out and said they, after a while, it kind of just like lifted and flaked away, like the finish flaked away. And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened.
Okay, good. Nadine was just asking about that. Can I make one quick comparison that I think will stick in your mind if you've seen Gremlins? The Fineline Crackle is like a gremlin. You cannot give it water. You know how they can't have water or snacks after midnight, and then
I
they
did
turn
not
into
know
that
that.
ugly
Yes.
gremlin. They're a cute
think
little
that's right.
cuddly Mowgli, right? And then that's consider that. And then when you combine them together, if you give it water, it's going to turn into that ugly gremlin. So think of it like that. Think of your Fineline Crackle. It turns to a gremlin once you combine those two components.
And Dagny shared a project, and I shared it in the retailers group, got a lot of good feedback about that. That it just started to like dry and kind of flake away. You could literally rub it away with your fingernails. There was moisture in that.
Okay, so that's your answer, Nadine.
There was moisture. Yes. So it either means your decoupage medium was not completely dry, or maybe you used a baby wipe to wipe away that wax. Somehow moisture got into this
Gizmo, not Mowgli.
this combo effect right here.
Lot of-
Somehow.
A lot of people relating to what I said about the gremlins.
Oh,
Mom,
good.
Just so you
See,
know.
because I had
Thank
no
you,
idea.
everyone.
No idea. All right, so let's apply some wax to this and reveal those cracks.
Yes, I think that's important with everything. I always feel like whether it's Fineline Crackle or anything else, so many times the problem comes down to people not letting things cure properly, which sometimes
true.
I think we're to blame because
We have to
can you
rush
lift,
through that.
Can you lift that up just a little bit? It's getting in frame, that camera. Yes, because we rush through things here. So I always am like, just do as we say, not as you're seeing us do here. As long as you can possibly let something dry in between steps,
Let it
let
dry
them
on
dry
its
and
own.
cure, because I always remember you teaching me that like water is evaporating as it dries between, and you're sealing it between these layers. So it's going to cause an issue. That makes total sense to me.
Right.
Fogging or flaking or all kinds of crazy things can happen.
Yeah. So, yes, definitely.
Yes, Carolyn, I think that's a great idea to simplify this. She said, can there be a list that lists paint, dry, decoupage, glue, apply paper, dry, water-based varnish, dry, Pentart. Step 1, dry, Pentart 2, dry.
Yeah, I will.
Yes.
We've, in the insider group up in the featured tab, we've got Amy's very simple guide to
Yes.
Crackle. We've also got another, I forget who did it, but it's a little more, it's like kind of a chart.
Nice little chart.
Nicely laid out. In fact, I printed it. I made some edits and I printed it for our Crackle Camp. But I think, yes, I think that if we just isolate the Fineline Crackle on its own, and these are the instructions. In fact, I think Teresa has shared them on
Yep.
the Decoupage Queen site under featured. Those instructions are out there.
But we're going to keep trying to make it more and more simplified, and hopefully in the near future we're going to start a nice Pentart 101 series.
And, it wouldn't be bad if I did it as a PDF so that when somebody
Yes.
bought the Fineline Crackle, they could just download that.
Of course.
And use that.
It can be linked right in the product
Right.
description, yep.
Okay, so let's again talk about how are we going to reveal these cracks?
Or a little kit that comes with a little QR code with a nice short video.
Yes, it's a good idea. We can use the mica powders. We can use the liquid patina I'm not going to use this today because it does require some ventilation. And we all know me that I'll set it on fire
I
or
was going to
something.
say, we've already
yeah.
had exposed Julie to
So
smoke.
we're going to go to what I typically always use is the antique paste.
I would say the most popular thing, the umber antique paste.
Now, if you have a dark surface or if you have a darker image, use gold or
Gold-
silver.
Yeah, can be beautiful.
Get a little bit on your finger, and we're going to just start rubbing that into those cracks. You're massaging it in. You're really pushing it into those very fine cracks, and they are fine.
Look at that.
Look at that. So move that around. Let the warmth of your hand soften that wax and really push that down into the cracks. I hope you guys can see these.
Oh, yeah, you can see.
But then we're going to wipe away the excess with a dry paper towel. This would be beautiful with gold on it too.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining.
Then we just take that soft cloth.
Could you go back in with gold now?
Or
Or would
no.
it not take to it?
No. No, because you've already filled these very fine
Yeah.
lines with this product.
Could you put a mica powder over it?
Because it's already full.
Yeah, I don't
The
think
cracks
it's
have
gonna.
been filled?
Yeah, it's already been filled. Oh my
It's almost
gosh.
like an old-fashioned antiquing too.
Yes. And so you just continue to work that. Let the warmth of your hand warm that wax so that it pushes right down into those cracks. See that, you guys? And then you just take that soft cloth and we're going to buff away the excess.
I really like this with the blue underneath of it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so
It
pretty.
looks really good, Julie.
So here, these are extra fine cracks, so I might have to work at those a little bit more.
Yeah, me too right here. I can see a
Yep,
spot.
yep. But it's okay, you know, it's really okay. It looks like it didn't crack over. See,
need
I
more
didn't get a
heat?
crack. Yeah, but I wouldn't worry about that now.
Yeah. I don't even mind it.
No. I don't
so
either
cool.
because it's such a random, pretty effect. And as you do these, tags are really great to work on because, and think of Christmas coming up, like ornaments, small wood tag ornaments.
Yep.
They're really a great way to use this product, and oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it is gorgeous.
Beautiful.
So let's take a look at Julie's. Beautiful.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I mean,
My
that looks so,
goodness.
isn't that amazing with that paper?
Yeah.
Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And it totally gives a completely different effect to your piece.
That looks so great.
It really does. And you know something, I don't even mind. Like when you tip this, you can definitely see all those cracks. It's just these are extra fine. So it's a little harder to see them when you look straight on, but the effect is there.
I think it looks cool, the randomness
It's
with that paper.
so neat. Really, really neat. And then imagine if you did gold. I wish I would have pulled gold out because that would have been so neat to show that too.
I
But
just wonder.
but you can mix your. Let's try. Let's
just
grab
try.
a glass.
Or even if you tried to put a little gold mica powder in there, just to
no,
show them.
I don't want to do. I don't want to put mica now. Mm-mm. No, 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 no.
You just never know.
Let's just take a little bit, and let's just try. Let's just see.
Oh, I can see that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can mix your colors and waxes. Oh yes,
Yes,
look at
when in
that.
doubt, let every step overnight. If you're really struggling, try that. I would say, don't you think, Mom?
You just have to
Absolutely.
be patient with it.
Yes. And just see if it solves your problem. Practice on a basic tag like this and just let every step dry overnight
love
and
that
see if
gold
it
on
solves it. Oh my gosh.
Just that
it's
little bit of
beautiful.
gold.
Yeah.
Yep, look at that.
It
So,
always solves everything, a little bit of
a
gold.
little bit of gold. See on the darker.
Yeah.
darker areas, it really brings that up. Can you see that, you guys? Can you see it?
Can the wax paste expire?
No.
I recently used the Fineline Crackle and it was gummy to the touch. Not sure if it was the crackle or the paste. Have you had this happen? Hillary, we were just discussing that it was probably that your Fineline Crackle had not cured completely, or the
And
steps
there was
underneath,
moisture.
and there was
Yep,
some
there
moisture,
was
going
moisture.
on. I would say it's unlikely that the paste expired, and you could test that out by trying it on something different.
And you want to make sure that your wax, now this I will tell you, Debbie's DIY waxes, Fusion waxes are not the waxes to use on this.
No, it has to be solvent based.
Ever. It has to be the stinky wax.
It doesn't smell good.
I was gonna say, as you know, I love.
But
how
I'm
it
just
smells.
saying, but it's got to be the flammable, smelly wax.
Yes, a notable smell. Yes.
Right. No Debbie's DIY wax. No Fusion mineral paint wax. No.
Oh, don't be sorry, Hillary. It bears repeating. It's a lot of people having that same issue.
Yep. So I want to show you here what happened. So this was over. This I did just over a transfer. And you can see here how it all lifted and peeled up my transfer. That's what could potentially happen right there.
Yes, so
See?
don't do it.
But
Okay.
I like you to see this because sure as anything, somebody will say, oh, I want to put that over.
We all want to do it.
Here's what you can do until we nail this whole process. Use the Crackle stamp.
Yes.
Crackle stamp,
that's great.
or our, you can also use the Crackle gel.
Yep, you can use any of them
system.
but the Fineline.
No Fineline, because that's what's going to happen.
Erin, she
there.
used the antique paste in gold. And Decoupage Varnish and Glue Silky Shine is a water-based product. Any of the Decoupage Varnish and Glue by Pentart are water-based products.
Okay, so let's talk
they're
about...
fine, and they're fine to use underneath of the components, just not
use
on top of.
those.
Yep.
Once you do this, no water can ever touch
No,
this.
once they do that, it's Gremlin. Gizmo, then if you touch it with water, it will turn into a Gremlin.
Okay, so we have to seal this in place now because otherwise the moisture, humidity, splatters of water will gum this up and you'll have a mess. But what you need to do is, again, I would let this dry overnight completely and make sure that it is completely cured. And then you need to apply a solvent-based finish.
So I thought you don't have to do that after a wax.
Well-
See, Avetta does not.
Yeah, I know Avetta doesn't. You're right. I mean, the wax if
Is
it's
a
this-
finish,
if,
right?
If you use the stinky wax, it's okay, but I still would give it an extra.
You varnish over the
I
wax.
sure would. Yeah.
Okay,
I sure
interesting.
would. So the varnish that you're going to use has to be a solvent-based varnish, and that's that flammable one. It's this. I love using the Pentart gloss, clear varnish gloss, and it is solvent-based. You can tell by the danger, danger, warning, warning signs on it. It's flammable. It's stinky.
That's a good
You need to
tip.
go outside.
That's the most popular thing to use with Fineline Crackle.
The other product that you can use, you can give this a spray with a Krylon glossy spray even, but you've got to make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area and you make sure that it is a solvent-based finish.
Yep.
I like just using this. That's
Yep.
usually
Most people
my
do.
go-to.
And if you used a mica powder, you would seal then with that as well.
Exactly.
If you use the patina, you would seal then with that as well.
Exactly. That's exactly right. All right. So
And there is there's a solvent mat that you could use. Just like
there is. Yep. Yeah, if you don't want the gloss, you can use the solvent-based matte.
Yep.
But
And let me show the one other one. Well, you can keep talking. I'll go get it.
oh, there's the antique,
antique
one,
one,
too.
which is really cool.
Oh, I want to finish that so badly, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna wait until we're not here. But I will finish this with the clear varnish solvent base in a gloss, and I'll do that probably later
I have
today.
a question.
Yes.
All right, so after you seal this, and then you put your edging on with the
Uh-huh.
gold paint,
Yep.
you have to seal it before you do that because that gold paint might have water in it.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Or if you want
exactly.
to add any accent to it.
Yes. Then you're
Yes.
safe.
Yep.
Yes.
That's exactly right. So the glossy solvent-based varnish also, look at, see? Danger, danger. Even in Hungarian it says danger. This is an antique one, so it's got kind of an ambery kind of finish to it, if you like that look as well.
Yes, you can do this over an inlay. You just want to make sure it's totally sealed.
Right.
But an inlay is just paint. That's all it is paint. So you
Yep.
don't have to worry about it lifting anything up. You just want to make sure it's sealed completely, just like we said, with a water-based glossy varnish would be fine, just like we did with the decoupage paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like half in.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
come on over,
Back in.
girl. Come on back. So now I feel like
Now I'm very tall.
So your Pentart Glossy Solvent is an amber color. That's because can you show this, Mom?
Yep.
Show the difference between the
there's
two.
2 different ones. There's actually 3 different ones.
Yep.
There's the gloss, clear gloss. There's a matte also in that varnish, and then there's a this is an antique. So it has a little bit of a ambery color to it.
So just one more time for everybody, there's links to all of these things in that supply list that I created. Those are linked in the descriptions, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or on lnjgoods.com under featured on our live tutorials. If you're watching or if you're looking on lnjgoods.com on a computer, that's right up at the top of our website. If you're on a mobile device, it's over on the left-hand corner. Those 3 little lines, you click on that and look for featured on our live tutorials. Look for the name of this live and today's date, and you'll find all of those things. You can also email me, info@lnjgoods.com, with any other Fineline Crackle questions. If I can't answer them for you,
I'm going the wrong way.
I will find someone who
The camera
can.
is very hard to know where
Yes,
you're at.
it is. It really is.
You're going opposite.
But yeah, what an incredible finish you can create with this. I love it. I just love it. I think it's so
great.
lovely. And again, you throw it on a tag. There's so much you can do with it. The most important thing is when you decoupage and seal. After that, you put all of your brushes, all the water gets put aside, and we never touch that water again. And then we move on to our Fineline Crackle. Let that, we do that process and never ever let water touch this again or moisture.
Yes.
So, but I think I will. I'm
We're using this, right?
No, that was for another project.
Okay.
So we are going to, I think we are going to, there, Julie. There you go.
Oh, Melinda wants to
Beautiful
see.
smile.
You'll see me craft with her sometime, Melinda.
I know that.
Or maybe with Julie sometime too.
Yeah,
I keep trying to get Megan. She's got a craft too.
she does. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down these steps and try to share it in a way that it's makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I'll put that in the insider group. I may attach that to then, I don't know what I can do in YouTube. I could put it in the community.
We can link to it. We
Yeah.
can link to a PDF
Oh, yeah,
or something like that.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, we'll do that.
figure it
So we'll definitely get those steps in place, and hopefully that will make good sense.
You
right?
think you could practice this on your own now, Julie?
Yes, I think I could do it on my own.
I know you can.
Yes.
I can't wait to see what you
Yes.
do.
Good job.
Yes.
You did
Great
great.
job.
All right, guys. Well, there's your Fineline Crackle, and by all means, make sure you leave us a comment.
Oh, they will.
And also subscribe, follow, all of those things that help our channel to grow.
Devana, you get in the insider group. It's linked. If
Under
you're on
featured.
Facebook right now, it's the pinned comment. You just ask to join, and I'll let you in, surely. I mean, just a simple background check is all I do. A credit check, and it's very low standards to
We
get in.
have a couple of rules that you have to agree to. So
I'm only teasing, but yes, it is linked. The pinned comment and on Facebook, and it's linked on YouTube, or you just search for Ellen J. Goods Insider. That's all. It's a free group.
A lot of good information in
Yes.
there.
Come join us.
Oh, it's
really great
overwhelming,
people
isn't
there.
it? I get so inspired by friends
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that group, and they have, oh my gosh.
They're
yeah.
so nice.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us,
Thanks for
and
teaching me.
thank
Yes.
you for joining us today. Wasn't
you.
so bad, was
Star
it?
student.
Well, this part of it, the face.
yeah, but you did a great job.
I know,
you did a
really
great job.
good job.
Wasn't
You
so
did.
bad.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on Wednesday for our very first Christmas in July. There's going to be a little printable for that workshop, and that'll be shared on Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.